Water crisis in Matatiele has proven to be a great problem that cannot be fixed. If you remember, last year in 2021, we published a story where residents from all over Matatiele were struggling with water. Now it's November 2022 and they're still dealing with the same crisis. What is worse is that residents are not only concerned about the shortage of water anymore, but they fear drinking water from taps is a risk. In an interview with the chairperson of the Matatiele combined businesses, Paul Kotsia, he mentioned how the residents do not have a guarantee of the hygienic status of the water they drink. And this is because the Alfred Nzo District Municipality, which is the legislative body that is supposed to supply communities with water, is failing to bring that guarantee.
Matatiele, as far as I can remember, has had insufficient water for at least 5 years. In September last year, when the Alfred Nzo District Municipality came to do their feedback on their IDP 5-year plan, the then representative at that meeting told us that ideally Matatiele needs 5,000 liters of water per minute to cater for its needs. At that time, the speaker informed us that the Alfred Nzo District Municipality was only supplying Matatiele with 1,800 liters of water per minute. So as you can see, there was a big deficit. In 2015, Alfred Nzo District Municipality embarked on a 53 million rand project to improve the supply of water to Matatiele so that we would be getting 8,000 liters of water. And the speaker at that IDP meeting said that by the end of that month, that would have been September 2021, that 8,000 liters per minute objective would have been reached. He also said at that meeting that Alfred Nzo were aiming at getting the water supply in Matatiele up to 11,000 liters per minute, which would then cater for not only its current needs, but also its future needs. Since that meeting, the supply of water to Matatiele has not improved, and our only conclusion, or my only conclusion, is that we are still only getting around about the 1,800 liters per minute, which, as you can see, is grossly inadequate for the needs of the town.
Now it's been over a year since they had promised that, and it seems like nothing has been done. As the business people of Matatiele, have you tried doing anything or seeking for help anywhere else to solve the problem?
The Matatiele combined business immediately began engaging with the Alfred Nzo District Municipality after that IDP feedback meeting in September last year. And we were made various promises along the way. Unfortunately, due to various problems that cropped up, the Alfred Nzo District Municipality have been unable to provide Matatiele with the water that we need. In April this year, the Matatiele combined business began engaging on a more regular basis with the Alfred Nzo District Municipality Department of Water and Sanitation to try and find solutions to the shortage of water in Matatiele. We have been making progress. It hasn't been at the rate at which we would like it to be, but with the load shedding that we've been having and with budgetary constraints that Alfred Nzo has, the supply of water that we were hoping to achieve has not been achieved. And we are still engaging with them. In fact, tomorrow we have another meeting with them. So we meet on a fortnightly basis, and we look for solutions, short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And we address any problems that arise in those meetings to try and find how best to keep the water flowing in Matatiele.
Okay, now you've been doing a follow-up with the municipality and everything, but what is their response? What are they saying about this problem?
The Alfred Nzo District Municipality are trying to find more sources of water. So again, in 2015, when I told you about the 53 million rand water project that they embarked on, Alfred Nzo sunk 3 boreholes in a district called Huapa, which we call the Kaniga River Water Project or Kaniga River Borehole Project. And the Alfred Nzo District Municipality's objective was to pump water from those boreholes to the town's reservoir, which is at the water treatment plant, to try and supplement the flow or the rate of water at which Matatiele is provided from sources. So from our town dam, we get about 2 megs of water per day. And if and when the Kaniga River Borehole Project comes on board, that will increase it to 5 megs per day. So that'll be a great improvement to the water situation. Now, the Kaniga River Water Project, which began way back in 2015, involved laying the pipes from where the boreholes are located to a point where there are high water pumps, and then from the high water pumps to pump the water all the way up to the reservoir, which is at the treatment plant behind us on the hill. When they were ready to start pumping the water, a prolonged period had lapsed, and when they started pumping the water, they discovered that the pipes that were used to get the water up to the reservoir were leaking. So they had to stop the pumping and they had to start fixing all the leaks in the pipes, and that took quite a long time. I'm happy to say that at this stage, as far as my knowledge goes, all the leaks have been attended to, and that there are no known leaking pipes. One must bear in mind that these pipes are all underground, so it's not easy just to detect a leak. So water is now being pumped from the boreholes, and 2 weeks ago at our last meeting with Alfred Nzo, it was reported that they were starting to fill the reservoir. The reservoir also has to be tested to see if it is watertight. And at this stage, I have not been informed about whether they've detected any problems with the reservoir. Once the reservoir is full, they will start introducing water from the reservoir into the reticulation system to supplement the water that's coming from the town's dam, and then hopefully we will be getting a larger volume of water coming into town. Matatiele also has approximately 11 boreholes that supply the town with water. Some of the boreholes are functional and some are not functional. For example, Mountain View has a borehole that supplies water to the reservoir out at Mountain View, and Mountain View and a section of Area C also receives water. from that borehole. There's also a borehole out at Area C that they're using to pump water into Area C. And there's a borehole as you come into town from Cedarville. Just before you enter town, there's a borehole called the Buxton Park borehole. And that borehole is supplying the area around the hospital with water. So there are functioning boreholes, but the objective is to get as many more boreholes functioning as possible to try and also supplement the volume of water coming into Matatiele.
Okay, now do you have any knowledge of which parts of the town are experiencing this problem the most?
The Matatiele, as you know, is built on the side of a hill. And so the natural tendency due to gravity is that any water that comes into the reticulation system from whichever point automatically flows downhill to the lower areas in Matatiele, leaving the higher lying areas often without water or very little water. So the high lying areas are usually the worst affected, but there have been reports from time to time when the whole of town has experienced a water shortage. As I said before, the borehole pumps rely upon, in some cases, Eskom, and with load shedding, they haven't been able to function, and so the amount of water getting into the reticulation system is reduced during load shedding times. We also have generators. When I say we, the Alfred Nzo District Municipality has installed generators at some of the boreholes, and there's always a matter of if there is diesel available at these pumps in order for them to work. And there have been occasions where there has not been diesel, and then during load shedding we have neither the generators nor Eskom to pump water, which then even makes the problem greater.
Now, do you know if the people of Matatiele are drinking clean water?
I personally have no knowledge of the state of hygiene that the people of Matatiele are drinking, because I don't have access to a laboratory, and I don't have access to and even if I did take my own samples and have them tested, it wouldn't be right for me to release those results, because it has to come from a certified laboratory that is certified by Alfred Nzo District Municipality. Alfred Nzo, we've asked Alfred Nzo on numerous occasions to provide us with the results of any testing that they have done on their boreholes. So as I said, we've been engaging with them since April this year, and to date they have never given us any certificates or any reports on whether the water that is being drunk by the people of Matatiele is a health hazard, or whether we are at risk or not. And so my answer to your question would be, I believe there's a risk involved in drinking the water that comes out of our taps. My advice would be that anybody that does drink water, they must first boil it. I don't believe there is a risk of E. coli manifesting itself in our water unless the pipes in which our water are contained have been compromised. Now, I know that the pipe system in Matatiele is aged. So, yes, there is always a possibility that E. coli can enter in at some point. So, E. coli is usually a derivative of sewage, and if there is sewage that is mixing with our water in our reticulation system, then yes, there is a risk. Therefore, my advice is please boil your water before you drink it. Have I heard of people who have had ailments from drinking the water? Yes, unconfirmed. I cannot confirm it, but I know of people who have said yes, they have drunk the water and as a result have been affected either through a running stomach or some sort of ailment, nausea, those sort of related problems. If there has been somebody who has been affected more than that, I don't know it. I also have an unconfirmed report that one of the doctors in town advised his patients not to drink the Matatiele water, but to boil it first as well.
All right. You saying that you've been having meetings about this water situation with the municipality and trying to find ways that you can fix the problem, but nothing has been changing. Now, from here moving forward, what are you going to do?
Okay. First of all, there are changes. The changes have been very slow. Definitely not at the speed that we would like them to be happening. For example, I did go to great lengths to talk about the Kniga River borehole project. But that's been 7 years, since 2015. That's been 7 years in the making, and it should never have taken 7 years to supply Matatiele with a vital source of water. It's unfortunate that it's taking so long to get this to Matatiele. It's also not good that we don't get the reports from the water that's been tested. And again, as I said, an approved laboratory can only be used, and it has to be approved by the district municipality, Department Services, Department of Water and Sanitation. For example, when the Buxton Park borehole, not the Buxton Park, the Kniga borehole, when they took samples, we were told that we would get the results from the samples 2 weeks ago. So in our meeting tomorrow, we will raise this with Alfred and Zor and ask them where are the results that they promised us they would be receiving 2 weeks ago. And we will have to see what they're going to say. So yes, Alfred and Zor are trying to do whatever they can within their means, but it's taking far too long, and the more they delay it, the greater the risks become. So we have to put more pressure on Alfred and Zor to find ways of getting the results so that we can inform the people of Matatiele, this is what you're drinking. We can tell the people who are receiving water directly into their parts of town from a borehole, this is the results of the water from this borehole. It is strongly advised that you take whatever measures the laboratory prescribes to get that water into a potable state and not to drink it in its raw state if it is risky.
One of the institutions that is also affected by water shortage in this town is the Taylor Bequest Hospital that services about 200,000 residents. According to authorities, this hospital has been struggling with water for over a month. And they also mentioned how the municipality has failed to send in water trucks, as there are reports that their trucks are in for repairs. The informer visited the hospital on Monday and after speaking with the patients said that they had not bathed and the toilets are blocked. The patients are now going as far as asking their loved ones that are visiting them in hospital to bring them water. Matatiele, who's the head of communications at the Alfred Nzo District Municipality, said test results prove that water in Matatiele is drinkable and the Kinege Dam, which is in the completion stage, is the one that is going to end the water crisis in this town.
From the water quality tests that we conduct, Belle, we can 100% ascertain that the water is safe to drink. The latest test results are dated the 25th of October 2022. The latest test results that are done, we can ascertain that the water is safe to drink. And yes, we have laboratory results that show the safety of the water of drinking of Matatiele town. As we speak, Gabriel, I don't know if I should share with you those test results because they are public. There is nothing to hide with them. But via your WhatsApp, I am sharing you those test results. Thank you, Ben.
All right, Gabe. Then the question now is, the leadership of business here was always requesting you guys to give them a certificate so that they can be sure that the water is tested. And they are saying it's a long time now. They have not received that certificate and the results that you are telling me. Why are you not forthcoming with the results to them?
That is incorrect, Ben. That is incorrect to say that we are not forthcoming with the test results. As I have shared them with you via your WhatsApp, you will see. But insofar as the business community, we've held a meeting with business leaders of Matatiele. On the last meeting was on the 15th of November at 1400. And we did produce those test results to them. It would be a question of the information sharing. That one business person that maybe you have engaged did not see the results, but the leadership of business in Matatiele, they did see the results. The results are there. I've shared with you. They are very much public, Ben. The water in Matatiele is safe to drink.
All right, Gehape. Recently, we have challenges in terms of getting water in many areas of this town, especially the hospital. Do you know what is happening?
Belle, insofar as water in the hospital did report a water challenge to us on Monday, the 14th of November. And they said they are having challenges. We immediately dispersed a water cart to the hospital to assist them with the water. And we've always in the prior bell assisted because Matatiele they do have a borehole, which for one reason or the other would be not functional. But we do assist in maintaining that borehole. And we've always assisted the hospital in the event where we, as the municipality, do not have water to support the hospital. Even the military, South African National Defence, has been asked to intervene, and they do cut water into those tanks there at the hospital. We must confess, though, Belle, that the volume of water, the amount, the pressure of water that is coming out of Matatiele taps is not sufficient. That is one confession we should be able to make. And as such, we are augmenting the current existing infrastructure through that dam that is in Kinege, which is almost at completion stage, because it would then augment the water that comes into town, and we would put the problems of Matatiele water to an end permanently, Ben. Remember, the schemes that we have existing, Ben, this is now across the district. are old schemes that supply water in town. That's why even in Matatiele, when you go there, ratepayers would be complaining that sometimes when you go to Mzimvubu, Mount Fred, ratepayers would be complaining that sometimes we are not getting water. You go to Tabankulu, you receive the same complaint. The structures that we have, Bell, are old structures, and they had the capacity to accommodate a smaller population. Now, with the urban pool and the influx of people coming from rural areas looking for better opportunities, it's causing a lot of pressure on the delivery of water. And the municipality is in a process of augmenting all the structures. Look at Tabankulu, for instance. The 2 dams that we have, we're providing only for ratepayers. There has been an informal establishment now in the form of that 471 settlement. And people there have come in numbers and are demanding more water. So our infrastructure is struggling to provide the water as required. That is why we are augmenting. And in Matatiele, in the case of Matatiele, Kinicha Dam is to augment the supply of water there.
Yes, Gape. Then I remember that then Deputy Executive Mayor, Councillor Pulelo Mohale, was here before the elections. He told the residents here about millions that have been invested, and talking about what you are saying now, and also went as far as promising that they will improve the liters of water that they are receiving, that is coming out from the taps, which is 1,800 liters per minute to 5,000. How long is that augmentation going to take?
Bele, the report that we are having from the engineers is that the Kinecha bulk water supply project is almost at its completion stage, and the report is saying here in front of me by the end of November 2022. Bele, we do, as government, confess to our delays in supply, in supply of services generally. Sometimes service providers, you give them 10 months, they take 18 months to complete a project. And I assume Kinecha is one of them. It is our failure to ensure that we deliver in time as we have planned. Service providers, you give them 12 months, they take 18 months sometimes. So the report is that, Bele, at the end of November, Kinecha would be completed and would augment the supply of water insofar as Matatiele town is concerned. Thanks, Bele.
Now let's talk about the boreholes. There are boreholes that are not functioning. Are you guys attending to them? And some of them, it's a long time that they are not functioning. Are you attending to them? And what is your exact plan? What is your target plan that these boreholes must be functioning and functioning for at least a long period of time?
There is a service provider that is currently on site, Bele, that is, as far as I know, that is fixing those boreholes in town. Let me not lie in front of your viewers and yourself and say they will be done by when, because as I'm speaking, I do not have that report, but I know for a fact 100% there is a service provider on site that is working on the boreholes. It's the project completion that I wouldn't be aware with now, but it's not something that we can hide. We can do a follow-up, myself and yourself, and I can give you that information. The name of the service provider, the expected time of completion and all that. But I know there is a service provider on site, Ben.
The other thing that is happening is the issue of water cuts, or the trucks that are delivering water in terms when there is an emergency. They sometimes go to repairs for a long time. Don't you guys have an alternative? Because sometimes we find that the defense is busy, they do not come. Don't you have an alternative when your trucks are in repairs?
Hey, Bell, first of all, let me apologize. The service provider that is doing the boreholes is Novubu Construction. But I will get to the details of that project. I just wanted to say that, was remember when you asked it, I didn't have that. Bele, let us also confess that we've got a very old fleet. I'm talking about fleet of the municipality, not just trucks that do the cutting of the water. We've got very old fleet. And we've actually, council has requested management to do a cost-benefit analysis because we seem to be spending a lot of money maintaining our trucks than we are supposed to buy new trucks, capital acquisitions. Most of our fleet, cars, trucks and everything, they are ailing. The last car was bought in 2014. So you can imagine the effective span of a car is not more than 7 years. Now we're talking very old trucks that are half of the time with the repairs, and we are paying millions, thousands, if not millions, to maintain them yearly. And sometimes, as you are correctly putting it, Bella, they are taking long to come back, and then the void is more. But what we usually do, Bella, when one truck is off to repairs, we procure locally people that have got water cut, clean, because water cut must be clean, must be able to provide clean drinkable water. We do source them. But this is always catching us off guard, Bele, because sometimes you learn that there is a supply chain process that must be followed. And when you are taking 1 week to procure a truck, it means a week people haven't had water. But now we cannot run away from the supply chain because you would see hawks there for irregular expenditure. So those are the shortcomings of Operation Bele. But it is something that council, as you have heard, is committed to getting right. Council is committed to getting things done. What is obvious, Bele, it can no longer be business as usual in Alfonso. Council have analyzed our shortcomings and is working on improving on those. Thank you very much, Ben.
All right, Gehabe, can you guarantee now that the municipality is on top of this issue of water? So people must be patient, otherwise we're going to deal with it once and for all.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, Gepele, that we have to ask our people to be patient because people can't be patient without water. Water is a basic service delivery. People cannot live without water. And it is something that it is our view, as you have heard the executive mayor, that it is a question of emergency that we must deal with water crisis in Alfonso. Fortunately, we are having a new capital plan now. This is now, I'm talking about water challenges across the district, not just in Matatiele. And since we have been crisscrossing across the district, we have been analyzing all these weaknesses that we have of our own infrastructure that is either old, taps that are there, but no water is not coming out of the taps. This is now across the district. And then the third category of areas that have never had water. In Alfrens, you still get areas that have never, in their entire lives, they've never had clean drinkable water. And our engagements with the minister, Minister Senzo Mchunu, I'm sure you've seen him coming in and out of the district, is that we are developing that strategy to overhaul water crisis in Alfonso. We are the only district in the entire province, Ben, with this high number of backlog of water provision. And this is totally unacceptable, not just in the urban areas, but in the rural areas, our people need water. But now that need and that sense of urgency is competing with the need to refurbish old infrastructure, to refurbish damaged infrastructure. With our little coffers, we are drawing a balance because whilst we are building infrastructure, people are going behind vandalizing that infrastructure, and we have to draw a balance between provision of water to areas that have never had water and provision of areas that did have water, but now the structures are old. The infrastructure is ailing, and areas where the infrastructure is there, it's not ailing, but it's being vandalized. So we have to draw a balance. Otherwise, our commitment, Pele, is dealing holistically with the water issue in Alfonso district.
Although the Alfred Nzo District Municipality is committed to deliver clean water to all people of the Alfred Nzo, it seems as if there is more work to be done in order to achieve the goal, while people are continuing to struggle for this basic human need. Don't forget to like and share our Facebook page at The Informer News and